Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is another episode of the infamous SkyWire. Along with my phenomenal panel, I want to welcome Gail.
Hello.
Hey, Gail. And Gail's got some stuff to do, so if you see Gail come and go, she's going to do that. But that's good because she's listening to herself. And then we have Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hiya.
How you doing?
This
Welcome.
week I'm not Marilyn.
Oh, yeah, last week you were me. That's hard. And then we have Cherie Valentine. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, it's a treat to be here. Thanks. It's going to be a
It's
good
our
show.
pleasure. Thank you. And it's her very first time with us, so we're going to be very nice. And then we have Mark and Heidi behind that picture, and they're getting themselves settled. Hey there.
Hello, here we are. Just
Hey.
me.
By the skin, right?
Yeah.
They're behind door number 3, right?
Yeah, that's it. Better late than never. And then we have Margarita. Hello. Yay, how are you?
Yay.
I
Hey.
love the topic for today. It's so great.
Good. I'm
Just
glad.
complete space.
Just complete openness, right? So for those of you who are tuning in, be it live, be it YouTube, or however you're coming to us, maybe the first time, maybe this is your 100th time, we always come with a title of some kind that I'll come up with just from my week, something that presents itself, whether it's a word, a situation, that I think, okay, this is a listening moment. This is a listening dissection. How are we going to take this thought or idea or situation, and what are we going to do with it, or what can I do with it that, you know, is part of my listening practice? And I love to bring it here to SkyWire. So this week, however, I'm bringing nothing special. Just an open platform, an open slate for us all to come together and say, okay, this is whatever, and I'm not going to even fill in the blank. I'm just going to say, no agenda, nope, nothing, only listening. Listening is the agenda. And
I would say that's pretty special, Marilyn,
Why do you say that, Gail?
because it's the openness, you know. I mean, anything is possible. The reason why I said that was you said, you know, today is nothing special, but then when you described what it just was so special.
Yeah, total trusting, right?
Yeah.
To come and just say, okay, let's do it. So thank you for saying that. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead.
Sorry, one other thing, Marilyn. If I do a screen share or something, I think this would sum up today.
Okay, go for it. I'll bring it up. If I can find my little arrow here. Okay. Yeah. Relax. Nothing is under control. It's exact. So Dave, can I ask you to share what you mean, why you brought that up, what you mean by that?
I think a lot of the time we live in a society where we like an element of control. And when we are not governed by a stringent control or by our own self-regulation of what we expect to happen and what we are prepared for, magic happens. It allows a possibility of things that are unique experiences that sit outside of what we have as a comfort circle. You know, we have a circle of influence, but we have a comfort circle which we work within, whether we admit it or not. And if we allow anything to happen and take everything that comes as a gift or a toy for us to play with, and just see things as the energy that they are, we become limitless in what we can achieve and what we can do and what we can experience. And I think, like a child learning to ride a bike, the training wheels come off. Like a dog that spends most of its early formative years on the lead, and then we take the lead off because we know that it knows you as an owner and it's not going to go too far and run away. You know, this unleashed lifestyle, this unchained, unleashed, free thinking lifestyle, is where we engage and come into contact with all manner of magic on lots and lots of different levels, which we wouldn't get in any other way.
Yep. And that's where we aspire. Maybe we aspire to be. And so we're all unleashed, right? And I want to say before we go on, Nicole Levac, welcome. She's on the comment tracker and the comment stream, and thank you for being here. And we're always happy to have you. And everybody out there would love to hear your perspectives on anything that we talk about, because you're unleashed too. So we're just going to go with it. And Cherie, I'm going to just...
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Free for all. And remember, the topic is listening. So, listening is that bridge, right? Listening is that awareness. Listening is the way we hear how to unleash. Listening is the unleash. Listening is what you get when you're from the unleash. So.
Yeah, so obviously, I love that there's no specific topic, because there's so much we can say when it comes to listening. This morning, I think as I sat to share the event, what really came to mind for me was the opportunity when I'm out in nature to listen. And you just don't realize, but the sounds of the birds or the crickets or the little frogs, that sometimes you wouldn't notice because we're so busy with everything else we're doing or conversation. But I was out this morning with my little granddaughter who decided she wanted to wake up at 4 a.m. So at 6 I relieved her mom. So we went outside because we both I love this time of year in New England where I can be outside. It's really limited. And I was just watching her, there's not a whole lot of conversation. I listen to her all the time because she communicates with me on many levels. But I was just really struck this morning that the seasons are changing and we're heading into fall already, even though summer's not ended, by the peepers, those little cricket sounds that come out late at the end of the day and early in the morning. And so, I don't know, that's one form of listening, just not necessarily always what people are saying, but what's just going on around you. And taking that in, not just in your ears, but in all of your senses.
That's perfect. So that's wonderful. So thanks for bringing that up here. And I want to ask you one question, though. What drew you to the interest of being here with us, with this topic of listening? What drew you here?
I think I saw all the people who participated, and you're all rock stars in my mind, and I love watching anything you do. I watched a few of your episodes and loved, again, just what comes up through the whole. I think listening is the most important topic there probably is, because it's so multifaceted, and it encompasses so much, and you'll never run out of anything to talk about or to listen to. Yeah.
True. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Okay, so who's next? All right, go for it.
I was thinking with this topic today, it came to me, if you look out on the night sky, you see stars. And so when you have a topic that's the stars that you can see, the words on the sky, this is the light we can see. But you have opened up today the rest of the universe that is the dark matter, that is not wanting to have attention, doesn't want to be shining, but everything else in the space around you. And then to actually think about that, it opens so many doors, like, and it's like, there is like, everything around you can go infinite space. And then when you find yourself in this space, it's like I got this experience of, wow, this is sacred. Darkness is not evil. Darkness, or the unknown, is our potential. It's where we can go, where we can listen. And if the sounds are quiet, we hear far more of what's going on inside here. That's what I want to say.
That was beautiful.
And I would add to that, Marguerite, not only in here, but also in here, in our heart.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
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 Exactly. And I guess, as we know, the heart is what helps tame the head, really.
Yeah.
So good, thank you. So, Mark and Heidi, I know you did everything you could to be here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we made it. Just, and it took me a while to start listening again, just because my head was whirling with the rest of the things going on. But as people talked, I was reminded of a little article I saw, which I didn't get into very deeply, but I understood the point of it. Just a couple of days ago, somewhere in Facebook, someone pointing out that we are beginning a formal study of ignorance, that ignorance should no longer be considered a fault, a problem, something that is some kind of deficiency, because the more we know, the less we know. and so we need to sort of raise ignorance up to its deserved level of inquiry and respect, and to be able to say, I don't know, and not feel like there's something wrong with me because I don't know this, which was sort of contrary to the kind of the achiever way many of us were raised, that if we don't know something, well, we better damn well find out about it pretty damn soon. And, and that's just not the way the universe is. The universe is, well, what is it? Dark matter? Dark energy is just 90-some% of the universe. We don't know anything about it. What we can see and hear and respond to in terms of frequency, so it's tiny, tiny, tiny little fraction of the vibrations that are moving through the universe all the time, And so I was so pleased to get this excuse, the sort of official scientific, approval of not knowing. And may I continue that for the rest of this hour. Thank you.
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Heidi, what can you add to that?
Listening, and this what he said, it brought up to me that it is ever more important to listen in a different way. As a musician, I think I said it already, listening is not only with the ears, it's also with the body, and then with esoteric things. We talked with Margarita. Listening is also, and we talked last time about intuition and stuff like this. Listening is much more complex than we normally would think. And with this ignorance part, I think this needs even a different way of listening, a much broader way of listening, I would call it more being receptive. Than only listening, because it's more global, more everywhere. Let's say your inner attitude to what is going on, you or mine, whoever. I think this is an important thing. And if you call it listening, if you call it something else, but this is an attitude, and how do you say, a stance, which is really difficult to maintain with all this noise we have in the outside world. So we have now people coming on 3 days of African dance, music and dancing here, and I haven't said hello yet. He already has. They are somehow enjoying themselves outside, and sometimes I'm listening with my ears. Oh, are they already doing music? No, not yet. Do they need something? So I'm, out, in and out, with listening to myself, to you, to him. I'm here. Okay.
So thank you for doing all that and saying all that. And And if you want to bring them on, that would be great too. We'd love, they can join the party.
I can ask if they do some music for you.
Absolutely, come on. I mean, that's the purpose of this, right? Is like we're not controlling it; we're just listening to the next moment.
So, as I've been listening to all of this, I think you've all opened up something for me too, and I think it's so obvious that I obviously didn't see it. And to me, listening, when you come down to it, that when we talk about intuition and inner guidance and inner wisdom, which is one of the things, I mean, I'm all about, that it starts with listening. And Heidi, when she said it, true, listening isn't just with our ears. It's with our senses. It's with our eyes. It's with our body. There's so many ways. And when you look at the vastness of the stars in the universe, again, what made me think of it was this past weekend, I led a workshop where I took people on a guided journey to meet guides. And when we do that, we literally leave like this and surroundings that we know, and I guide people and take them to listen through all of their senses for them to meet guides and hear the answers that they need to hear. And I hadn't really put those two together, even though you'd already invited me on the show, and I read there was no topic. But listening, it encompasses so much. And I love, what you're saying, Mark, about we don't have to know all the answers. It's okay to sit in the question. It's okay to allow ourselves to listen openly and maybe even learn or see something in a way we never have before. So maybe we thought we knew something, or we were expert in this thing or not, and and it's okay to say no, I'm really not, because we're ever expanding, we're ever opening, and there's always more to hear.
Take the computer and go there.
Okay. We're gonna go outside.
Oh, okay. While she's doing that, thank you, Cherie, for bringing that up. I want to address something also. This idea of listening and that there's something deeper. I think that the only thing you find when you listen is deeper listening, because attitude, feelings, intuition, it all is listening. Because as Cherie was saying, listening is the ultimate of senses, because everything is giving something off. Everything is giving information. And that's why we listen to the road to intuition, or what intuition does. It all takes listening. And because of what Mark just said about ignorance, when you hear things like that, for me, when I hear things like that, that lets me know there's hope in the world. Those are the messages that I hear that tells me the world is not crumbling, because we're getting to things like that. I don't just stop at the mass killings and the stuff that goes on. I want to hear those things that tell me we're traveling on a different path, and we are cleaning things up because we're getting to things like that intelligence. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, let's go. Are we going outside? Are they doing that? Yeah, there they are.
Oh, good timing.
Cool.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So I was really, I just love what Mark shared. I hope that he hears me now. And because, inherent in what he shared about raising up that it's okay to be, that word ignorance, inherent in what he shared is the desire to know more. You know what I mean? It's okay to be ignorant because it just shows how much we don't know, but that we're open to learning more. And it does give you hope in terms of what you were saying, Marilyn, because there's a lot of people though that are ignorant in a different sense of the word, in the sense that they're really not open. They don't want to know and they don't want to learn. And I think that's the true meaning of ignorance, in a sense. Not not in the way that Mark was speaking about it. That's I just loved what he shared. And it also just reminds me how important it is to associate with the right people.
Absolutely.
The other thing I think that would want to point out, that from my perspective and from my company's perspective, is as far as listening is concerned, a lot of people listen to hear, but they don't listen to understand. And when we listen to understand what somebody is saying, because we tend to be on some form of autopilot where we listen for a space for us to speak. And we listen just to hear what somebody else is saying. But when we listen, completely and utterly listen to understand what somebody is saying, it's not always in what they're saying. It's majority of the time it's what they're not saying. And when we listen to understand, we put it in that framework where we are then open to listening more fully formed, because listening is one of the 20 or 21 senses that we have. And it's one of the 5 primary, but it's linked with other senses. It underpins those. And again, what Mark said about what being ignorant about things, it's okay to be ignorant about things. There are 3 domains that we have of thought. One is what we know. Another one is what we know we don't know. But where transformation or change or magic happens is in the area of what we don't know that we don't know. And we only know that there is something we don't know by listening, because it triggers off a train of thought that opens up to possibility of other areas that we could be listening to and other areas that we can get involved in and be part of, and where we truly open our mind to this enhanced listening style, which is active. It's not a passive thing. Listening is an active contact sport. When we are fully engaged to listen to understand, it opens up areas that we didn't even know we didn't know about.
Thank you, Dave. I just want to, before we go to the music, I just want to acknowledge Jeremy and Nicole are doing a lot of chatting on the stream. I will get to those comments, so keep on chatting, but I will pull them up. But I just want to get to the music, because look, we have a whole room full of people, and I want to acknowledge Dave for what he just said, because that's exactly a great point made, right on point about listening. It is the kahuna of listening. It is the kahuna of senses. So let's go. I want to ask you something, Heidi, before we get on with the music. Is this original music?
Okay, ask me.
Is this all original?
This is original. This is a person who has an African instrument, and you see. And the other one is an Italian person, and he has a guitar. And as you see, they have the big drums here on the floor. And they are, yesterday we have seen a performance with the dancers, and they were musicians there. It was wonderful, very wonderful.
Okay, so let me ask you that they maybe play for, what do you think, is it like a minute or so? Just give us a little sampling. Is that good? Just give us a little sampling of what they do. All right. Go ahead.
3 minutes. We need more than a minute. We need more than a minute.
Let's see. Keep going. Go. Do you have a dancer there too? Did you say? You have something.
Do you want to come on?
Yeah.
Let's get those drums.
Wow.
Hi.
Ciao. This is Michele from Italy.
Hi.
And your name?
Baba, Gerard. Tierra from Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso. Baba is from Burkina
And show
Faso.
your instrument.
Instrument Ngoni.
It's Ngoni.
You see that?
Okay.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It is.
Traditional instrument.
Could you do that one more time? That was a really great sound. Just play that little thing one more, that little ditty one more time.
She wants it again.
Yeah, do that little.
Beautiful.
You know, and I would like him to play them to play the drums for a minute. You
Please,
talk,
yes.
and they prepare, and then okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Oh, and you can-
Are we hearing it?
Gembi non
Guarda, domani
domani. Quelle
possiamo
piccoline?
registrare un pochino, vabbè, ma...
Troppo piccolo.
E poi guarda, in realtà noi adesso veramente dovremmo fare, diciamo, quindi
No,
Okay.
io sai.
può essere...
sì, c'è il Gembi poteva fare un'altra roba, ma adesso
Sì, no, okay.
We're listening to them prepare.
Excuse me.
Okay, are they getting ready? This is really interesting, isn't it? This spur of the moment kind of thing. Oh, Heidi. Okay, thank you. You're telling her, Margarita, you're telling her she has no video? We lost her sound.
Mm.
Okay, well, they'll come back. So what do you think about that, Margarita?
Wow. I mean, it's so awesome. As I wrote in the commentary also, to when we listen and don't expect anything, see what comes out. Isn't that completely unexpected? And I mean, this is like an ideal example of your brilliance, Marilyn, because having no topic, the topic that says there is no topic is also a topic. I heard Eckhart Tolle say that if we have this thing, he used to send space posts like this, just brackets in an email. That's a space for the present moment, right? And this is very close to that. And I want to quote Eckhart Tolle for that because he's one of my favorites. And you see what comes up when you allow space. That is amazing. And I mean, I feel like, wow, I am 8 years old. I can do inspiration comes in and then blending. And I mean, it's just hilarious. It's like we become in flow. I don't know what you other, you know, Gail or Cherie, are you in the flow right now?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yes. Why do you ask?
Yeah, because I want the audience also to see if everybody is in a flow, then we have succeeded, right?
Explain what you mean by the flow.
Well, you have no resistance. You're just listening. You have you don't, like Dave says, listening to hear so you can respond, but you listen to understand. You listen to listen, right?
Yeah. I
think
listen
also-
to connect. Like, I just feel so connected right now to all of you, to the musicians, to the music, to just the moment, to what's about to unfold. I'm just, yeah, it's such a wonderful, pleasant place to be.
I think also it's the fact that this is the only week that would have happened.
And why is that?
Really, it is, isn't it? Because we wouldn't have been doing, if we'd have been doing something very structured where there was control about what we were talking about and commented on, I can't imagine us saying, and now some music. It wouldn't have happened. And so because we don't have we're not bound or tied to a particular train of thought, where this is freestyle with no safety net, and everything is permissible and anything can happen in the next 30 minutes. This is where we allow a context and space for something like that to happen, and it tends to become a template which you can never duplicate, because it's spontaneous and instantaneous, and there is no planning, because that music break happened through something that we said during this hangout. It wasn't planned before, and it just happened. And that again is where magic happens. We would never have had a platform for that in any other hangout that we've done. It was great.
Yeah.
Don't we call this synchronicity?
Yes.
Yeah, based on the previous definition of it, I guess so. I mean, really.
It was an incomplete synchronicity because the musicians don't have their djembe, only the drums, and they didn't have the drumsticks yet. So we couldn't have the follow-up with drum music, because I love when they do their music with drums and dance with it. It's really wonderful.
That was amazing. I mean, thank you for mentioning. I guess, it's this free-flowing thing, free-flowing trust, to be able to just say, like, this, that, the other thing, and i.e., based on what you just said, this is a template day for life. This is a template for life. This is an unfolding. This is the trust. This is, I don't know. Sometimes I don't really know anymore,
Ignorance.
Well, when you listen, as you're listening, you realize, what you know, what you don't know, that you don't know what you thought you knew, and what you thought you didn't know, So I don't know.
I think it's nice to be able to sit there and like getting people to sit in silence sometimes, and be it silent on their own or in a group of people is unnerving to people until they get used to it, and also having no control over a situation. We tend to fear that. We like to have some control, but when you've got a chat like this, if you duplicated this in, for want of a better phrase, real life, if you duplicate this in your life in the offline world, you would be able to say, I do not have control over this situation, but I'm fine with that. Because you know that you could take control of it at any time, but exerting your control over something all the time is limiting what can happen. And here, this was like a blank canvas today, and everybody's painting in different colours and different shapes, and then we've got a soundtrack as well. So it's unusual. It's unique.
When we first started the show, and I would have these spontaneous whatever topics, and it would come to 10:30, 20 to 11, a quarter to, and somebody didn't show up, or more of you didn't show up, I'd be panicked, because I was under the auspice of that one word, or that one topic, or that one title, and I would feel kind of like nervous, like what's going to happen if I'm here by myself and I have to talk about that one thing. Today, it's interesting you would say that, because today was one of the first times that I've shown up where I wasn't nervous that somebody wasn't going to show up, because the canvas was so open and blank for me that I was going to be able to talk about anything about listening. I wasn't under some kind of control. And so it's interesting you would just say that, because it was much easier for me today. Like, if for some reason somebody didn't come, I was gonna be all right. I was gonna survive without going crazy.
But how great would that be in your life to be able to say, look, I'm not exerting control over things. I'm going to accept what happens to me and what is presented to me, and I can either engage with it as a toy for me to play with, as energy that I can play with, or I can say, I don't want to engage with that. I'm going to wait for something else. But you know that you can jump in at any moment and take control and direct things. But we don't have to do that all the time. Sometimes that is a barrier that we're projecting that is stopping things from coming to us. It's like switching off our Wi-Fi, our own mental Wi-Fi. You know, if we switch our Wi-Fi on and we are receiving stuff all the time, we can then choose. And if a situation occurs that's not something that we decided or we thought or we predicted or we wanted to happen, there is something in everything that we can extract something good from. Mm-hmm. And sometimes things bad happen, sometimes things negative happen, sometimes things confusing happen to us. And it's not on our menu, our list of things to do. But within them all, even though they're negative, even though it's gone wrong, even though we either win-win or we win-learn. And there is always a message, there is always some connection in there that we can extract from it and use somewhere else. Or it can trigger off something else in our mind.
That's right. That's right.
And lead us in another direction.
That's right. Let me, Heidi, let me just ask you, do you have the comments tracker thing up or not? Because I want to...
No,
okay.
I haven't. I have only on the other computer because it is muddled up today. I'm here with Connections Forum and not as myself.
Okay.
So
well, I want to thank Jeremy and Nicole because they're having a really nice conversation, and I want to pull up some of what... Okay, so Jeremy said, hello, unleash yourself from fear and be free. How can we... finite beings understand infinite possibilities almost beyond our grasp? Well, how can we? I guess part of what, through listening, that's the unleash. Oops, I'm backwards now. But anyway, thank you, Jeremy, for saying that. And Nicole said, embrace, oh, Jeremy again. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped Nicole's comment. Let me go back. Bear with me a second if I can do this. I don't know if I can find it. Oh, forgive me for not... Okay, here's Nicole. Jeremy Murphy, I think that listening brings us into the possibilities that are open for us. The infinite of the universe is too vast for one individual, hence the collaboration and the openness of listening to others and what is possible around us. That's really very true, isn't it? Especially when you take a look at what we're doing here in this show and how we get to come together and expand all the layers and levels of listening.
Marilyn, can we just say about Nicole, she writes some excellent blog posts that she shares out about how she engages with nature and how nature gives her guidance, and she gets lessons from nature on a daily basis. She goes for a walk and comes back with these amazing blog posts that she shares on my community and a few other people's community. And I think it's well worth having a look at Nicole's blog posts because they're a great perspective in how the world around us is working, even though we may not be noticing it. And by reading it, I've tended to start looking, not just looking to look, but looking to see. And that is a great talent that she's got. So I'd recommend her to everybody.
And so where would everybody find her blog post, just out of curiosity?
Just if you do plus Nicole Levac on Google, but you can look at my community and you can look at her website and everything. But they're always up and they're always on Google. They're really interesting perspectives.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, her website is NicoleLevac.com, so it's just her name.com. But yeah, I would have to agree with you, Dave. I think she's helped me even take my experiences out in nature to a whole nother level of listening, just through the beauty of her words and her experiences she shares through her blogs.
Good. Well, Nicole's been on before. Maybe she'll come on again. So Margarita, go ahead. You had your hand up.
Well, I don't remember that, but my hands are always up and
Okay.
moving and clapping and whatever. And I really appreciate your comment about Nicole, Dave. And I think, Sherry, you and Nicole had something to do with the intuition, right, that you do. Uh, I want to mention that too. I'm
Yes.
also I'm also into intuition, so it's a common area for us both. Yeah, so I want to say that you have also a course or something about that, right?
Oh, wow, thank you. Yes, I do. I have a course where I just teach people to tune into the different ways that we can access our intuition and strengthen and start to really use them in our lives for guidance.
Mm.
That was
Awesome,
just,
awesome. Yeah.
thank you. That was so kind of you to bring that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a healer, right? So intuition is a really great part of my life, and I also work and teach people about intuition. So but from a completely different point of view, you know. So
Yeah.
we have all our individual gifts, like Heidi and Mark. They come up with this idea of having musicians there, right? It comes out of the blue, and they act on it. So this is really cool when you act on it. And then,
Yes.
like Dave mentioning somebody who's they call who's commenting and showing respect for that and acknowledgement, and that's also coming from the heart. I think that's a very important way of listening. Also, that we, if we engage our heart, if we engage and care for others, then that care comes back to us. That's simple like that.
That's strange, Margarita, because I had an intuition you were going to mention intuition.
Heidi, Mark, you've been awfully quiet. Not awfully, but just quiet. What do you got to say? What do you
They're
got to
listening. They're
Well,
listening.
I'm quiet and I'm awful. All right. We
What do
all
you?
get a chance at that.
Yeah.
No,
What do
I
you got
really
to add?
have. Just after the, I kind of peaked out with my initial comments, and I was kind of blown away when everyone seemed to respond to what I was saying, and I'm just all kind of humbled and grateful and quiet, and then we did the music, and oh, just moving on, doing something else, and then it's over, and then we're doing this, and oh, what's next? I
Are
don't
you in the
know.
flow?
Hmm?
Are you in the flow
In the
today?
flow, well, at the moment I am, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it is in particular because normally when he is coming out of what he has planned to do, he goes into tilt, and today he didn't.
Well, I couldn't. I was on camera. People
Okay,
were watching.
that's right.
Yeah.
I have a 3.5-year-old grandson, and I was sharing a little bit early on when we first started that my daughter just had a baby, and so he's going through an interesting time, and we had this event, religious event the other day. It was really emotional for him, and he looked at me and he said, "Grandma, could you give me your phone?" He's 3.5, and let me play Thomas on my phone. He had to remove himself from the emotion of what was going on around him. It was too much for him, and he wanted to escape. And so I took him into the back, and he just sat there, as beautiful a soul as you could see, just playing with my phone and playing this game on my phone, and removed himself from all the emotion. And I am so floored by how a 3.5-year-old can be so in tune with that, and so, know exactly what to do for himself in such a beautiful way. And I'm watching him now this week after having a new baby brother, and I am watching this kid do things that my listening is so privy to hear.
That's such a testament to how powerful listening is, though, Marilyn, because you could have easily been more caught up in what was happening and what would have been more proper, or what maybe he should have been doing, and imposed that. And rather than doing that, you actually allowed the space for him to listen to what he needed and to support that. And that was such a powerful message you actually taught him as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think he knows that I know he knows that I'm gonna hear him. you know, which is so interesting because that's what listening, like I said, what listening, what I'm privy to hear through listening, which I had never said that before. That's what listening does. Until this moment, I've never said that. And that's what listening does. It gives us a privilege. It's for everybody,
Yeah.
but it's a privilege.
You know, something that just popped up too, when we really listen, it actually gives ourselves permission to take ourselves out of having to fix or impose our control, our will, our what we think it should be, which again, not only is such a gift to the person, but to ourselves. And that's exactly what you just experienced and expressed.
Hmm. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else has something to
Oh,
add? Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
well, just following on with what Sherry was saying. When you are listening to understand what somebody is saying, and you're listening to understand what they really mean, because sometimes what somebody says isn't really what they mean. They just can't say what they mean. If you just listen to hear the words, you'll think it's something else, when in fact, under the undercurrent and between the lines, or in the spaces and in the silence, is the true picture of what's going on. And understanding, listening to understand, is the key. When you do that, you're actually present with that person, which is the difference maker. There's so many people that we speak to hear us, but they're not really connected and not really with us. But when we are being listened to completely to understand or to be understood, then we build a bond, like a connection between that person and us, like there's a cord of light between us and that other person that's glowing. And we're connected. They are in our presence and we are in their presence. And when we've got that connection of presence, then the message is far more stronger and far more connectable than any other form of listening. I just want to throw that in.
No, that's a good point. And the thing is, you know, when you were saying that, I was thinking, that's a great practice with children, and they help teach us that, because their feelings, they have feelings, and their mind is going, but sometimes they don't have the words or the way to express it or understand it, and so what I got to practice with my grandson, and is understanding him beyond what he's saying or whatever anybody else is adding to the picture, because I'm tuned into listening to him, so, and he can't tell me. So that's a really good point. Gail, welcome back.
Thanks. Thanks.
You-
You know, when you were saying about listening, you know, really listening, I just wanted to jump in with this because from the other point of view, or just another aspect of it, it's such an incredible feeling to actually be heard. You know what I mean? Like when you really listen to. And I have to say, actually, Dave, this reminded me, Dave and I, we had a very interesting conversation a couple days ago, and I just wanted to say to you right now, Dave, that I felt so heard, you know, when you listened to me, because it was the kind of conversation where I felt like I was taking a bit of a risk, you know, like just stepping out and doing something, and he really heard me. And there's nothing like that, you know, folks. It's like there's nothing like being heard. It makes such a huge difference, you know. It just means so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it was as always worth hearing. You know, I mean, I when you're speaking, when I'm speaking to somebody, I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but when I'm listening to somebody, I'm always trying to figure out what they're really saying to me. And sometimes when people listen to other people, and I've said it before, it's like watching a foreign movie with the wrong subtitles. You know, because you can't match what they're saying with how they look and their expressions and their breathing and their tonality and their movements, their eye movements. It's not congruent with them, with what they're saying. And so I always concentrate very hard and listen. And when you told me about this situation with somebody else the other day, I knew it was important to you, and I knew obviously it was important to them, so I did something about it. Whereas a lot of people, again, not saying it was only me, but some people think, well, you know, that's interesting. I'll think about it. But my instinct was to go and do something about it because it is life changing. And so, if you can change a life, change it.
But that's
And
because you heard
that
me.
was it.
You heard
Yeah.
me.
But again, the response you get is only as good as the message you give out. So my response in doing something about it is only down to your clear definition and you putting the point across so well that I couldn't fail not to hear it.
Well, I appreciate that, and I don't want to turn this into like a mushy thing, but it
Well,
was really
we can
like
get a
what.
private room afterwards,
That's all
Gail,
right.
don't worry.
But it's
How do you
just,
listen to the
We get a
mush?
private hangout, don't
Yeah.
worry.
but it's just from listening to who you are and knowing you. You know, I just felt that, well, I could take a chance. I can do this. You know. So anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's really important to have these relationships and these partnerships. I mean, it's like playing, again, you know, who are you going to play tennis with? You know, who are you going to listen to? I mean, listening, we want all kinds of experiences to help evolve us into the listening beings that we are meant to be. I mean, that's the message of the universe. So, and when you talk about, and Dave just spoke about, well, you shared the information. It's important when you're listening to really check in with yourself and how honest is your communication being? How honest is your conversations? How much are you leaving out? Listen for what you're leaving out because it's a setup for somebody else. If you're expecting them to listen, but you're not giving them the whole ball of wax, and then people get annoyed that somebody didn't listen to them, share what you think, share what you feel. And if somebody isn't telling you everything, that's when the questions come in, you know, so that you can clarify it. So thanks for bringing that up and that experience and that relationship that you're having. Cherie.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about-
What's on your tongue?
Actually, nothing. It was just very rare.
Well, maybe that's what we needed to hear. What do you mean that's rare?
Are you kidding me? I'm never without something to say. Yeah, talking's not an issue for me, but I really the listening piece is something I've had to work on. I think more than anything in my life. It's so easy for me to want to always jump in, interrupt, get inspired, get excited, kind of take over. And it's just been so refreshing to really learn to just sit back sometimes and just take it all in and like let other people have the floor and not feel like I always have to be speaking.
And how many of us on this panel right here, right now, know that same thing? I bet all of them.
Yeah,
You know, I have a pillow that I often, let me see, and I'm sure I've showed it before, but since you're new, I'll show it to you.
okay.
Why?
If you asked my daughter, she would describe but that's what it's like around here, especially when my husband and I get going and there are other people.
Well, why do you think I have this pillow? Because I had a lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Because I knew that go ahead.
Marilyn, can
Yeah.
you, while you show the pillow, or white box it, or you talking you so we can read it? Because I couldn't.
Okay, let me.
It's irritating when you talk while I'm interrupting.
This is good. We can learn that.
We can use that.
You know, I found that, and I saw what a sense of humor, you know, I can have by laughing at myself too, because I did that a lot. You know, I was always ready to, and I am still doing this but I'm also catching myself. I mean, just listening is in the catch, or the catch is in the listening.
I think sometimes the more heard that we actually begin to feel in our lives and in our relationships, the less we need to talk. I think sometimes when we talk so much, it's because no one's listening, or we feel no one's listening, and we desperately want someone to hear us. And the more balanced we become, I think, and understanding that, and be more grounded in our own selves, and maybe needing less for other people also to have to validate or hear what we're saying, again, that helps us be more quiet and listen more and speak less.
That's a good point. Somebody's clicking.
That was probably me. I'm sorry, my mic was hitting my bracelet.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if somebody had, was trying to say something and they didn't want to jump right in.
Put my hands
So they
behind my
clicked.
back.
I sort of want to jump in. I don't know yet what I will say, but I think there is some very much truth on it, that when the more we try to go out, this is because of missing going in. And, then when we don't feel heard, we get louder and louder, and the women get higher voices, and then they scream, and then it's immer louder and louder, and nobody will listen anymore, no? And when teachers, for instance, do that at school, I mean, poor kids. How can they listen when they have such a voice, And so it comes in my voice interest, the more we are relaxed, the more we have a lower voice. So, and the higher the voices are, and the more squeezed, and for me, it's an information about your inner state when you are talking in this way. Probably, and we also have a certain German decisiveness.
Love it. You were so right on.
Anyway, I think it's very true.
I think Dave wins the game here. He has the lowest voice.
Yeah, but he has is first of all a man, so he has an octave lower than that, and probably do you sing, Dave? You would be a bass baritone?
Do I sing?
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it that.
But you have a low voice when you sing, I guess. I mean, as a speaking voice, it's almost lower also for women than our singing voice, but I think you have a round voice for...
Yeah, I think I'd probably be a bit Lee Marvin stroke Paul Robeson, if I did.
Let's listen and hear it.
Sorry?
Let's listen and hear what it sounds like.
Well, there is listening to hear, listening to understand, and listening to say, what the hell was that? Which is would be what my singing would be. It's like I have a great face for radio, but my voice is not for.
But we are here like a sextet, like a group, and you are the contrabass, you are the basses with your voice,
Ah, right. I don't
and,
mind
and
being.
then we are, here is the tenor. Sure. Oh, come on. And then we are going up, high sopranos. No, it's like, we almost always forget it, that singing is not much different than speaking. And that we are here also doing a sound experience, not only a word experience.
It's strange you said that, because there was a guy that was in the seminar in Seattle last year who had a very pronounced stutter. He would talk like this, and he stood up to ask a question. And it was very embarrassing for him, but it wasn't embarrassing for me or anybody else, but he was conscious of it. And during a break, I said to him, how long have you had this little speech impediment of some sort? And again, it was all of his life. And he was 27, 28, but he sang in a choir in church. And I said to him, have you ever considered singing instead of speaking? And he said, no. I said, well, why is it that you don't hear what you're going to say in your head as if it was a song, and then just repeat it? And he immediately stopped stuttering. He immediately just started speaking to me as if, but he's got to consciously do that
Yeah.
But it was unbelievable that it was just a slight, movement of this dial in his head that corrected something. I'm not saying it still is corrected now, but he started talking to me without this impediment that he had, that he was so conscious of, that it was stopping him from doing a lot of things. But you could go and sing with no problem
It's
whatsoever.
actually a method to handle stuttering.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazingly effective. I've seen it before. I said, "Have you ever done this?" He went, "No," and started speaking, and he got up and asked another question in the afternoon. No issue
Right.
whatsoever.
Well, listen, it's that hour. It's the hour we've been through. So wow, what a show, and I appreciate everybody being here. Mark, did you have any final closing word or two for today?
Oh, I just thought of a way to be clever in the context of this particular show, which is about nothing at all. All I can say is, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Heidi, you got something?
No, nothing today.
Okay. Cherie, you got something?
Just how about thank you? This was amazing. Loved it. It was a great show, but there was so much something in all of this nothing.
That's what nothing is. Margarita, what about you? I'm afraid to say Gail. Make that sound. Honestly, I didn't want to say anything. But I didn't want to leave it just there because I wanted Gail and Dave to have a chance to wind down, but I didn't want to do anything. So, Gail?
So you sing at the end, Marilyn.
What? Music at the end.
You sing at the end.
Me sing?
Yeah.
I don't know about
sing
that.
us out.
Sing us out.
You know that
Oh my
movie,
gosh.
The King's Speech? Wasn't that what Dave was talking about? That was like, did you ever see it? It was like the same kind of thing, wasn't that? That was some movie. That was
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That mindset changed that. What other mindsets change something else? We just got to figure that stuff out.
Speech therapy.
So, everyone, thank you very much for being here. As Cherie said, thank you. So what else can you say? I mean, really, what else can you say? And I don't know what'll be next week. Tune in and find out for yourself. Bye. Thank you all for being here.